You are now watching 14A Sports on 15MOFE.com.
Hey! Oh, welcome back to the 14A Sports Radio Show. All right, so our guest right now is on the line. He's David James, located out of L.A. You can check out his website, livepredictor.com. Dave, how's everything going?
How's it going, guys? Thanks for having us on.
What's up, Davey? Thanks for being here, brother.
All right.
I like this guy. He likes the Cowboys to do big things this
year.
He
does.
All right, we'll get right into it, huh?
We'll get into that a little bit, but Dave, give us and the audience a little bit of background on yourself.
I come from a small station in Central California, sports station, and ESPN went to me, did it via phone, made some bold calls, made some calls with some teams. Thankfully, they broke, and then been doing it ever since. We work with the Big Four: NFL, MLB, NBA, and NHL in that order. And then Fox heard about us, took us on, and now we're currently shooting a pilot for a TV show.
Awesome.
No
very
kidding.
nice, very nice.
Now, before
I'm open for cameos, David.
now we'll touch base on that TV show in a little bit, but I want to let the audience know too. Now, what you do is you don't predict winners. Rather, you guide teams in the right direction. More of a consultant with all that. How do you go about doing that with them?
We're not a gambling entity. Those guys are good at what they do. We're not a scouting service. They're good at what they do. We're basically a mixture of a GM, scout, that kind of feel to it, where we don't get involved with playbooks, anything like that. We work with the big three, which is obviously the draft is number one,
right,
and then free agency is number two, and trades. And we've only been involved in a few trades.
So you tell them their weak points and where their needs are and stuff similar to that then?
We strive for a 2-year program because some teams take us on just one. Some teams has locked us further, but it's basically to say, the first year we don't guarantee winners. We come in and we got out what's wrong, and then we come in and we bring in what's right the following season. Now you got to remember, depending on the team, you have to be kid gloves because you're dealing with major egos, and also you're stepping on scouting staff toes.
Get out, major egos in professional sports. I would never even think of it.
And also agents, but the good thing about this, one agent told me was that when I heard, he told me a couple of years ago that when I heard wind of you, I was kind of like a little disappointed because you were downgrading one of our players. I didn't know of you. I was like, who is this guy? But then again, though, you've upgraded 3, so 3 to 1 ratio is not bad. And we say this nonstop, or I say this nonstop, is I say this on shows, not in meetings, but on shows, that even if I bash you, I don't know you. I mean, sometimes I do know the player or coach, but if I bash it, doesn't mean anything about you personally, because your wife, your family, your kid, friends driving down the road saying, "Who is this guy ready to bash my husband?" and so forth. But I say you might be my biggest recommendation a couple of years from now. I call that my Antoine Walker. Bashed him out of Kentucky, then recommended him for Dallas, and then boom, he goes on to win the ring in Miami. So It's the opposite too, where if just because I say you're the greatest thing since sliced bread, or you're the best thing since sliced bread, don't get too comfortable, because next year I might walk in like I did to play with the Dodgers. He went through the roof, and I said, dump him. I said, that's your guy to dump him. He's a one-year wonder. Sure enough, he crashed the next 2 seasons.
Wow. So, Dave, let me ask you this. So, I know you said you were at a sports station. What's your sports background? What's your, you're obviously giving recommendations based on players in multiple sports, the big three. Were you a coach? Were you a player? What are your, I'm not asking for your I don't want a resume, but, why should people listen to you is my question. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, I don't think that has anything to do with my background. I mean, I was all-star in baseball and hockey, but I don't think that has anything to do with it. That's never actually even come up. Maybe it was kidding around or so forth in conversations at parties. But it's basically I got challenged. I was in the music industry. I got challenged. I sent packages to the San Diego Chargers. They said, we'll put it on file. The calls came out. They said, try it again. I did it the following season. I didn't care because I was working in the music industry.
Right.
I did it again. I had back-to-back 80% completions. And they said, that's phenomenal. So they had me come down to training camp, and he gave me all access to look around the place. That's when Jim Harbaugh was the quarterback there.
Right.
And
so we're going back a few years
around,
here, yeah.
I didn't see any talent, and Latrell Means was on his last leg, but I saw this one guy doing tire drills. And I said, who's the body? This guy right here. And he said, he goes, no, he's just a backup. We've got him from Miami. I go, yeah, I remember him from Miami, Norman Hand. I go, hey, Norman. He turned around. I says, go get him this year, man. And he was sweating like anything doing tire drills. He winked at me and put his helmet back down, went back to tire drills. And he said, all right, David, I can't challenge you. I'll write it down. End of season is the only charge that went to the Pro Bowl for them.
Wow. Very impressive stuff.
So you kind of came, that's unbelievable. You came out of nowhere, and you just based it off visual observations, essentially, huh?
Well, it's a lot of studying. I mean, because when I was in the music industry, when I was off work, I was nonstop watching games and doing this and doing that. And matter of fact, an old girlfriend of mine, we were going out, and her brother's an avid sports guy. We used to always talk sports, and he was watching a Southern Miss game. And as I was walking the door, and I go, who's this kid like that? And he goes, oh, Brett Favre. And I go, oh, wait, I want to watch him. And I sat down, and she was like, take it off. And I sat down, I watched him, so I grabbed a pencil, and I go, but it says Savory. And he goes, no, but it's Favre. And I'm like, okay, so I used to write letters and radio shows. And my brother said, David, you know music, you don't know sports. This kid's a bust. When he came over from Atlanta to Green Bay, he goes,
he got traded,
intersections. So Brett, I ended up meeting with Brett several years ago, Poor Junior, but Junior said birthday party, and he hugged me for that, and he thanked me.
Wow, that's awesome.
I actually have a great story about Brett Favre, but I'll tweet it to you or something like that. You know,
please do.
All right, we'll do.
He pissed on a bar, right? Is that we're going here?
Oh boy.
All right, so on your website, you talk about a lot of the players that you've called success for, and a lot of the guys that that have failed. An interesting one on here, Rajon Rondo. What was something that you saw about him that thought that he can go to the next level?
He couldn't shoot at Kentucky, right? I guess he still can't, but
yeah, you're exactly right. Well, we just said that, and yes, I'm glad you actually brought him up because of all the calls. I humbly say, with thankfully our age, he's had some big calls, but he's my favorite only because I was literally almost insulted by that call. I mean, I started him at Kentucky. I said, this kid can pass like anything. I said, the rebounding effective at Kentucky. I said, the shot's okay. He's just not getting it. He needs the right coach. And one assistant GM in a meeting with the GM called the assistant GM, grabbed my sheets and read them out loud verbatim and said, Doc Rivers is a brilliant coach. Doc Rivers, he keep fold on the sheets and looked at it and goes, no, he's not. Doc Rivers is a horrible coach. Doc won the championship the next year. And then he just said, then he says, Rajon Rondo out of Kentucky is going to make sensation. Rajon Rondo. And he threw the papers at me. I went, whoa. And he goes, I'm sorry, I apologize. He goes, wait a minute, time out. You're wrong. He goes, I don't know what you see in this kid. He doesn't even have a shot in this game in Kentucky. Right. And I said, well, like I just said to you, and then from there on.
Yeah, he was a late round pick, right? Was he was a first round, late rounder?
I want to say he was like 20.
Yeah, he was. Yeah. Well, I remember when he came out. I mean, he was a great defender at Kentucky, and he could run the point, but he couldn't shoot a lick. Yeah. And so if you had him, I remember thinking, I was like, he's not going to make. He can't shoot.
Right. Well, yeah.
Well, that's why I'm not the predictor. Clearly.
Another interesting thing about Rajon Rondo, and I'm sure a lot of other people have this assumption about him, is he's great because he's played with the big three his whole life. Now, this upcoming season, it's going to be the Rajon Rondo show exclusively. I mean, what do you see coming up with him this year?
Yeah, and I hope he does well. I thought they hired the wrong coach.
Really? You don't like Stevens?
Yeah, I don't think he's the right guy either.
No. There's certain guys. This is the hardest part. The thing to say on radio shows is that because I don't say this out loud in meetings, but you have to know your limitations because some guys like a North Turner, brilliant offensive coordinator, not a head coach. And
Rex
and
Ryan
this guy should have stayed in college, just like Rick Pitino and Calipari, brilliant college coaches, not pro coaches.
Right. Right. Yeah. No. There hasn't been very many successful transitions from the college game to the pro game.
No.
At least recently. Yeah, that's going to be interesting. Yeah. So, can we get into football a little bit?
Absolutely.
Yeah, we get into football. So, apparently, you're a Cowboys fan. Our boy Richie here is a big Cowboys fan. You're looking at him to make a leap this year, huh?
Yeah, big time. And I'm not a Jason Garrett guy. Didn't mind him as a backup quarterback though. But Tony Romo's one of our biggest calls. I got laughed at on Fox after they gave me accolades of my Brady call on ESPN. They said, and I said, well, what's the difference? I said, who was Tom Brady? I mean, he laughed. He said, who's Romo? So it's
wait, you called Tom Brady? You called Tom Brady?
Maybe you don't have. Do you have both websites? We have livepredictor.com and we also have OpenDoorSports.net.
No, yeah, you had Brady and Romo on your website.
Well, give me the story on Brady. That's fat because obviously 6th round pick. He was, he split time with Drew Henson at Michigan.
Yeah.
What did you think? What did you see in him?
Yeah, well, okay, so a lot comes up on that. That comes. So let's see. Basically, Brady was when I wrote a letter to Mr. Kraft, and I wrote a breakdown of why they shouldn't sign Bledsoe to a $100 million deal. So then the host, I told him all that, and the host asked me, he said, well, don't they have a backup? I said, yeah, Michael Bishop out of Kansas State, but he's only 6'1", he can't see over the line.
Right.
So I'll tell you what, they drafted a kid named Brady in the 6th round out of Michigan. Put this kid in. If they put that kid in, he'll take him to the playoffs. He's got that good of a game. The host goes, well, they're not going to do that. I go, I know, but I'm just saying that's what I would do.
Yeah.
And that launched me. It was like, you know.
And then Mo Lewis broke Bledsoe's sternum, and off he went.
And the history books have
Yeah.
been written.
Bledsoe got replaced by Romo as well, you know. I know Mr.
Holy
Kraft,
shit, yeah.
On my birthday.
in person, and Mr. Kraft said, David, he said, I didn't receive that package. It must have went through one of my assistants. He said, but he said that to me. He said to me at one of the owners' meetings. He introduced me to his wife, and he said, "Give me a call that I can say right now that you said in front of me because I heard about you." And I said, "Give me any player, sir." And he said, "Any player?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "All right." And he looked away for a second, and he just released him the week prior. He said, "Matt Carlson," without hesitation. I put my thumb down. I said, $55 million down the drain by Kansas City. He said, "Really?" He said, "Now see if that comes out. That's a huge call." I'm thinking, really? My sister goes, "That one? You've had so many. Like, why would that one?" But he was a disaster.
Wow.
Yeah,
Did he give you a championship ring like he did Putin?
When I used
Or
to
did you
call
steal one?
the
Like
music industry, I used to say, "Hey, where's my platinum album on my wall?" You know, I broke it.
That's unbelievable. That really is. Wow. So obviously you've been doing this for years and years going on here, huh?
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into these. The 12 NFL teams. For all our listeners out there, again, the website is livepredictor.com. You can go on there. Dave's got a nice little 12-minute video on
Look at
there.
some of these teams though
Yeah.
that you're picking.
Well, read off the top three.
I know weed's legal. In
Well, let's start. Let's start from the bottom down.
Because we started from the bottom.
Now we're here. All right, so coming in at 12, 11, 10. 12, you've got the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm a little skeptical about that. Number 11, the Cleveland Browns. I actually think they should be higher on this, but we'll continue. And number 10, the St. Louis Rams.
Well, could I start with the Eagles? What do you think of the Chip Kelly hiring?
I wasn't that high on it. I thought another guy that should have stayed in college. He had it right in the palm of his hand.
Oh,
Right, yeah.
who did you like for the Eagles job?
Devin Thomas, and you had Michael James, and there was plenty of opportunity for him to stay there. And
You got
really,
Phil
really,
Knight. That's the key name, Phil Knight. What are you kidding me at Oregon? The guy that owns Nike.
It was explosive. I mean, and now LaMarcus Blount, I think, is going to phenomenal with the Patriots. But I just think that the Eagles, the reach was, Matt Barkley, and I think this is to Chip Kelly, like almost like a crutch for him to like say, okay, well, if Vic gets in trouble with his ego or his attitude or his fumbles, and then if Nick Foles, I can't groom him fast enough to save my job, which he really should bank on Nick Foles, then at least I have Dennis Dixon, who's familiar with me, I can get by. But maybe if Dennis Dixon, since nobody wanted him as a starting quarterback, maybe I have to reach and grab Matt Barkley, and I think this was a mistake.
Yeah, I don't see Barkley fitting in over there.
Yes, you didn't like Chip Kelly, huh? Interesting.
No, I think Kelly, he had a great thing going in Oregon, and why would you? I don't see him having the
because
success
he
here
just
in the
got
pros.
hammered with with the sanctions.
Yeah,
I don't think that's it. You know what I think? A lot of these college coaches, look at Patino, Calipari. They have success in college. They go to the pros. They give it a shot. If not, you know what? They go back. Look at Calipari now, Kentucky.
Yeah.
Who's better than him after
And
he
he built
failed?
Memphis
Look at
before
Patino
that. I mean,
with Louisville.
Yeah, Pete Carroll in Seattle.
Well, that's one of the
doing
few.
a great job.
That's one of the few.
But he's failed. before
Did
in
you
the
have
pros.
Russell Wilson? What do you think of Russell Wilson? Speaking of Seattle.
No, if you watch the site, I mean, we have the full 1 to 30 teams broken down on that livepredictor.com. You can see it on. I think he probably has some live YouTube/live predictor as well, and we have all 32 teams on Seattle. Have them way down there, and the reason being is that, as I stated, you can only win these close games so many times. If you look at his stats, they're not impressive at all. You would take so many quarterbacks over this kid.
I agree.
So it was a nice story, but I have it crashing this season.
I completely agree with that. I don't think he's a big time player. I really don't.
All right, so on the list, number 11, I love Cleveland. I think this is a great shot. If it weren't for Cincinnati, I think they'd win the division. But what do you see coming out of the Cleveland Browns this year?
I really like this North Turner hiring. I think this guy just knows certain guys know how to break offenses wide open, and I think he's going to do that. Trent Richardson, he's going to have a field day with. Obviously, you could need to upgrade at the wide receiver and tight end position. A lot of people high on the tight end there, but I think they could still use another backup, like I said about Philly last year. But I think they're going to really open it up. And I think this defense was playing really hard last season. At opening game against the Eagles, that showed itself where they were really controlling Michael Vick.
Yeah.
So I really like the direction they're heading. I really like them as a wild card there.
Mm-hmm. Would you put them around the 10-win mark this year?
Well, win mark is something I'll never touch. One time I was in a meeting back with the Rams, and the general manager was looking over my breakdown, and he said, "You have Detroit in the playoffs?" And he said, "Without Barry Sanders?" And I said, "Oh yeah." I said, "Gus Rock coming over with Bobby Ross?" And he goes, "No." And they just made it 8-8. So I don't know.
Nice, very nice. All right, yeah. So also on the list, New England, number 9. Now, did you do this before all the Aaron Hernandez stuff, or?
Yes, that was pre Hernandez, and again, and that's one thing that I say is that I'd like to say, "Oh, the Patriots going to win it all," because it would make me look better in meetings. Tom Brady wins another ring, or Tony Romo. "Oh, Dallas going to win the whole thing because it's my Tony Romo call." I got to be realistic and say, no, he doesn't have the weapons around him. I think the Patriots are definitely they're loaded. Belichick's brilliant. I've backed him since the Cleveland meltdown days, but I just think they are missing some pieces. I think Steven Ridley's going to have a big season, but they are missing some pieces in as well as on defense. So definitely strong enough for the wild card. But again, I know it's going to be laughed at because there's something special about this Buffalo team.
Buffalo.
Buffalo. Yeah,
Buffalo.
Yeah, break that.
Besides Cleveland and Buffalo, I'm on board with all your other picks.
You like Maroney, the guy out of Syracuse. He's a college pro guy.
I really like this move. I like it a lot. I've liked this move a lot, and I just have a feeling now that he has a crop of 2 quarterbacks there to work with, and I think that the fact that he has 2 solid running backs to work with. They brought in Robert Woods. That was the receiver to take it back.
The guy, yeah.
And this defense coming back healthy, Mario Williams and company, this is going to be really solid.
So you think whether Cobb or E.J. Manuel start, that they're a winner up there in Buffalo? They got a winning combo.
I would prefer E.J. Manuel, but I'm comfortable with Cobb in this situation because the poor kid, I downgraded him with the Eagles, I downgraded him with Arizona. But I think with this 2 running back system, he's going to really excel, and I think the fact that Woods is going to help him out.
David, I'll be honest with you. I'm calling bullshit on Buffalo. No doubt about it.
Well, I need this documentation that all these
I like the Dolphins.
You guys all agree with me. It looks stupid playing these guys. People go, "Oh, these are your buddies from New Jersey."
No, absolutely not. No, I think you're crazy with that. I think you're crazy. Rookie head coach. You're going to start a rookie quarterback. I don't see it. But that's why they play the games, right?
Hey, look. How about Indianapolis and Washington last year?
I thought they were studs. Luck and RG3, I thought were both studs.
Right.
I think EJ Manuel has a lot of potential, but I don't think he's going to come into the league and light it on fire like those two
EJ
guys.
Manuel towards the draft, maybe not so much like in like February and March, stuff like that, but as the draft was coming to fruition, EJ Manuel was the top quarterback in that, not Geno Smith.
I thought EJ Manuel had a ton of talent, had a ton of skills in the draft. He turned it over too much at Florida State. What'd you think of him? What'd you see in him?
Yeah, I think getting away, no offense, this is going to sound crazy, but I think getting away from Jumbo Fisher, I think it's going to do him a world of good.
Okay.
I think the constricting offense there, I really think that Doug's going to really mess things up and, mix things up. And I would like an upgrade at tight end their position. But Chandler's a big dude, but I still would like I'm more into the Aaron Hernandez. Tony Gonzalez was one of my earliest calls.
Well, don't tell me it's Aaron Hernandez. I mean, come on.
I thought Fasano was a brilliant guy. They should have looked at Fasano. But
I love Fasano.
Yeah.
Notre Dame boy, right?
All right, how about, so I know you like Dallas. Let's talk about our teams for a sec. We'll start with the NFC East guys. What do you see coming out of Dallas and the Giants this year? I mean, I know obviously Dallas you like a lot.
Touch on Dallas a little bit. How about the Giants? They just they inked Victor Cruz. He's solid. They drafted the tackle Pugh out of Syracuse to hopefully solidify that offensive line. They had a lot of deficiencies on defense last year. They didn't rush the passer. JPP's back. There a lot of things going on with the Giants. So give me your take on them.
I think they're a mid-tier team. They're not a bust, and they're not a playoff team. They're just,
really?
that 8-8 team kind of. I'm a big Coughlin guy. I've backed him since Boston College days. I just think the guy's brilliant. Matter of fact, when they were going to fire him during that Dallas game, I turned to my friend that worked at NBC and said, "This is too bad because this guy's brilliant." And sure enough, they come back to win, then they win the whole thing. So, you know, they're a solid team. There's no question, but there's a lot of holes more than you think. I think it's going to finally catch up to Tom saying, you know, what do you want me to do? I mean, this is what I'm limited to. So.
Yeah, no, I can see that. Hopefully, you're absolutely wrong on that. As a huge Giant fan,
Not me.
But no, definitely holes. We'll see how they fill them in. So moving on, we'll talk about Walsh is a Bucks fan. You know, made huge strides in the secondary. Made a big trade for Revis, the signing of Golston.
Yeah, he's got them going to the Super Bowl because Revis came to town.
Yeah,
but I mean,
so
put him back in his place.
Dave, I tell him your quarterback's Josh Freeman. You're not going that far. What do you think?
Yeah, and that's, again, because you don't have that footage on the YouTube Live Predictor. You'll see there I have on the mid-tier teams, I got my two teams at the end of the segment 2 of the two teams that are just going to knock on that door but just can't get in. Tampa's the one in the NFC. I have Bengals in the AFC.
Ooh.
And I really think you're exactly correct that the problem is Greg Schiano's brilliant. This was a brilliant hire from Rutgers.
I'm a Rutgers guy. I love Schiano.
I had Morris fired when they hired him. I didn't understand that hiring. And I think Josh Freeman, he's really good in the red zone. He's got a nice little laser there. But the problem is that now you got Mike Glennon. I think this kid takes over this team. Brilliant Doug Martin and this underrated defense. So they're the knock on the door. If they get in, I hope so for Greg. But I just think that, you know, it's going to be a little tough with the Eagles and stuff like that ahead of them.
I think, you know, coming up with this division this year, this is another reason why I like Tampa is because, you know, I see Atlanta taking a step back. New Orleans, yeah, they can put the points up, but that defense is just going to kill them time in, time again. You know, Cam Newton and the Panthers, you never know what you're going to get with that. I see it 8-8.
Head case.
But, yeah, that's why I like Tampa. I like Tampa more or less because of the rest of the division, not so much them. But, you know, I still think that they need a tight end, and, you know, there's some things that they could happen.
Atlanta's looking to make a move.
And that's why I mentioned the Eagles in this because of as a wild card. Because of I think that's the only way Tampa could get in this season as a wild card. And I just have a feeling that New Orleans is going to be the only team that comes out of that division. I know everybody's expecting Atlanta to go to the Super Bowl, but I think it's going to be a disaster season.
Me too. Well,
that's very interesting. Why?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, you lose the heart on both sides of the ball. You lose Michael Turner, which is a big heart of that offense, and then you lose John Abraham. Okay, now you picked up Osi, but Osi will have a solid season. But John Abraham was a big part of the leadership of that defense. And when you lose it, also in the secondary, and I think Mike Nolan's doing a brilliant job. He wasn't a good head coach, but he's brilliant down there. But I think that, you know, they're losing pieces left and right in the secondary. They revamped some, so I'll give them some credit there. They did revamp some. So the secondary should still be strong. The linebackers still could use an upgrade. And I just think that this team is just Steven Jackson will get his, you know, punches at the goal line. But I just think that, you know, are you really counting on Rodgers to carry the team, or are you counting on Steven Jackson? I just can't see it. I'm a big White fan, so I like Roddy White a lot.
How about Matt Ryan? You like Matt Ryan?
Matt Ryan, not as much as most do.
I agree.
I studied him at Boston College. I think the kid, you know, he takes a little long to make his releases on his decisions, and I don't appreciate him overdoing the Peyton Manning at the line huddle. You know, that's a little old.
I hear that.
Even Peyton admitted that. It was a boomer called him out one day on radio, and he says, "Yeah, you're right. Half of it is a bunch of crap."
Yeah. Well, here's another thing with Atlanta that I don't like. You know, Matt Ryan's coming off that shoulder injury. I think that's going to come back to haunt them. And then another thing with Atlanta, last year, they had a ton of games against teams that had no business beating them, that they kept it too close. I just, off the top of my head, like Carolina, the one game.
Oh,
if they didn't blow that game, Atlanta loses that game.
Several.
Oakland came into Atlanta and nearly beat them. Arizona came into Atlanta, and they had like five picks against Matt Ryan. So there were a lot of games that could have went either way. It was just the team that the Falcons were playing that they screwed it up.
So similar to what you said about Seattle, you can only win so many of those.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. They start off with a tough game against Carolina. I don't think Carolina's the best team, but you know, you still have those wide receivers there, and you still have the tandem at running back, and Cam still can be a solid player. So I just think that might send a message the opening game.
Huh.
Dave, let me ask you this: when you evaluate teams, do you give any credence to strength of schedule?
look at the schedule, no.
No, thank you. Thank you.
I look at the
My
schedule
buddy,
more
just
as-
real quick, Dave, my
This is
buddy
a
over here,
fantasy.
Walsh, all he does is talk about schedules. The
Schedule.
kid loves
Yep.
the schedule. Forget the schedule. That's what I keep telling him.
Even NBC smartened up with that, flex schedule, saying like,
Right, 'cause you don't know.
But game 10, 9 to 10, this might all change. So, we all get excited about the draft, and we think that, this is it, and we look at the schedule, but really, it's like you already know who you're going to play as 6 of those games, and then some of them on the road and stuff like that. Like, look at New Orleans. I actually think they're going to excel and now, you figure if I'm banking on them being a run team this year more than a pass team, you figure they'd like to be on turf, and I think they're going to be a better away team even. I think they're going to really show that, look, we can run this ball right at you. So, I think this home field advantage and all that. You got a good team. You got a good team.
I
bottom
agree.
line.
I completely agree. Agree. All right, so give us real quick, just to wrap it up. Give us your one biggest surprise this year, maybe one biggest disappointment.
Can't get any bigger than Arizona, huh?
Or Buffalo. All right, Buffalo. All right, you got Buffalo. I think you're out. If Buffalo's good, I'll send you a case of wine. I don't know what you do, but you're out of your mind with Buffalo. They're going to be terrible again because you know what? They're Buffalo.
Sounds good.
But all right, then give me a disappointment.
Their biggest disappointment, I would think, is going to be the Washington Redskins.
Yeah, I can see that.
I get down with
that.
that. I get down with
Yeah,
that.
I'm definitely
Of course
down with
you
that.
do.
Yeah, I'm with that.
I'm a big Shannon guy. I've known Mike for a lot of years, and I think I told him years ago. I said, forget the Delaware coach. You'll go down as the greatest breaker of running backs in the history of the game.
Oh,
that
yeah.
was 7 years.
Really?
Look at still to this year, Alfred Morris.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Kid came out of nowhere.
He just finds them.
Yeah, tremendous.
All right.
Hey, Dave, you gonna come on with us throughout the course of the football season and break it down with us?
I definitely enjoyed it. I like the back east flavor you guys show.
Nice, absolutely. Also, and if you're on the East Coast over here, don't even hesitate to ask you to come in here. We'd love to have you in studio too.
Walsh will send you a limo or something. We got a helicopter. It's in the
Yeah,
shop.
I have a cooler with some Miller Lights if you're interested.
All right, Dave. Thanks for coming on with us. We'll definitely have you on in the future.
Yeah,
and obviously, great job on all the success you've been having. What you
incredible.
do, I think, is incredible, and it's something that nobody else that I've come across seen doing. So, great job.
Good luck with your picks.
Well appreciate it, guys. Have a great night.
Gonna be all over that website, no doubt about it.
You
Take
got
it
it.
easy, Davey. Be good. Thanks for coming on.
Take care, guys.
All right.
All right, that was David James, and
Dude,
again,
he was awesome.
Yeah, and you can catch him again. The website is livepredictor.com. It's also the Twitter handle livepredictor. But yeah, I mean, this is something that we haven't even touched on.
Well,
and
you know what's crazy? Like you just
Like the
said.
Nostradamus of
No,
sports.
right. He is he's not predicting games. He's not doing point spreads.
Right.
He's doing who's going to be.
Like
you never heard
systems
any of that.
and-
Right.
yeah.
Very interesting. Very interesting
and
stuff.
the guy knows his shit.
Oh, without a doubt.
Obviously knows
I
it.
tell you what, though, he name drops like a mofo.
Oh, yeah. What?
I was gonna call
They
him out on that.
name.
That's why we ever go to L.A., we're going to hang out with that guy. Goodness,
Name drop.
Oh, so I went to Robert Kraft. Bob's.
Yeah. Oh, Bobby
Michigan,
over
yeah.
there.
He was unbelievable. He was great.
Definitely.
And he's definitely. We got to have him. a
Molly
regular.
was ready to tear his head off after he saw who's the
Buffalo.
1-2 on there.
Well, I thought that was his top tier teams. I
Right,
didn't realize those were the biggest improvement teams. But I still think
Hey,
Buffalo's crazy.
He doesn't even pick Super Bowl predictions. He
Right.
won't touch any of that
Right,
stuff,
right.
which is genius.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. The fans got to take that information and use it as
To
the
gamble for fantasy, everything. Yeah.
Gambling's illegal.
Let's extrapolate, bitches.
All right, so yeah, David James again, and that was livepredictor.com.
Bananas.
We're going to get to 2 videos right now before we get to the Coles News Network.
Yeah.
First one
She
from
knows another
the
airplane
first
bomb.
one's from the Scandals, who are actually opening up for the Gaslight Anthem
Anthem.
coming
I
up
saw
soon.
that, yeah.
Nice.
Definitely, I'm not too sure about their info, but Google them and you'll find all that out. We should have probably prepared for that.
They own
though.
the Scandals.
Fountain of information.
No, yeah. This one's the All Nighters. That's from the Scandals. And our boy August Styles. He's actually got a mixtape coming out soon.
Oh, it's hot in August. Should be
It's
dropping
hot in
soon,
August,
right?
yeah.
In July.
You got to talk to him about pushing it
tried
back.
to-
a little.
The irony.
Oh yeah. All right. That one from August Styles is called "Turn." All right. So we get to these 2, and when we get back, it's time for the Coles News Network, 14A
Yeah.
Sports on 15 Minutes of Fame Radio. We'll be right back.
You are now watching 14A Sports on 15MOFE.com.
Hey!